You ever wondered how it is that we go from a state where something would cause us disease, and then in another moment, the same thing no longer has an impact or an effect upon us to cause us the disease? It is because the body would have developed what we call immunity. So, basically, in a nutshell, immunity is basically the body's ability to mount a response in the defense against an attack from an external entity that could compromise or jeopardize the body's ability to function efficiently and effectively. So sometimes the best way to mount an attack is to have your soldiers ready and waiting for the invader before the invader comes. Because when the invader comes, you can't be training your soldiers, you can't be structuring your resources in order to defend the body, because resources would have to be pulled from other areas. So if you have a set already trained and ready to go, then that there is a positioning that the body desires to be in. And when this happens, mechanistically, naturally, biologically, we call it immunity. So, in a nutshell, that is basically what immunity is. And in order for us to have immunity, we have to consider the immune system. The immune system, or IS, is a completely complicated to a degree uh, mechanism system that is tightly controlled. It includes tissues, it includes organs, it includes cells, biological mediators that coordinates to defend a host organism against the intrusion of foreign substances or abnormal cell origin. So yes, the body can develop an immunity towards itself, because sometimes yourself cells would find themselves in a situation where apoptosis, the process of cell death, is retarded to the degree in which they are growing disproportionate to their programming. And when that happens, they become burden on the whole system because they are out of alignment. And in this situation, they will be classified in some instances as autoimmune disorders. All right. But let us get into immunity. Immunity basically refers to the process by which a host organism protects itself from attack by an external or internal agent. So we need to have that definition down. Immunity also confers protection from non self and abnormal self element, which are controlled at different levels. So the body function based on a hierarchy system and different lines of defense. So you have your primary line of defense, you have your secondary line of defense, and you have your tertiary line of defense. So we have our skin, which is basically what we consider our primary line of defense. Then we have our different membranes. We have the villi in our nostrils, and all of this, which is a secondary line of defense. And we also have our antibodies that are inside of us, which is another line of defense. So the response and elimination of organisms and unwanted cell is accomplished through the cellular, which includes cells, or the humoral mechanisms. The cellular defense mechanism is mediated by, guess which cells? The T cells. We have the macrophages, and these function in eliminating Actually, let's think about it again. For the cellular immunity, we're going to have our T cells, yes. We're going to have our macrophages. We're going to have our dendritic cells, which functions to eliminate the viruses, the bacteria, the cancer cells, and other cellular pathogen. Then for the humoral mechanisms, this is comprised of the B cells and its specific antibodies, along with complement components that are produced in the plasma, the saliva, and bodily secretion. So, for the cellular, we have the T cells, and for the humoral, we have the B cells. All right. So, even though both the B cells and T cells work together in the immunity process, the T cell is for the cellular, and the B cell are usually found in the humoral immunity processes and mechanisms. So just bear those differences in mind so that we can differentiate as is needed. So the humoral mechanism is comprised of the B cells and are specific antibodies that produce along with complements components that are produced in the plasma, the saliva, and bodily secretion. So our bodily secretion have our DNA, yes, but it also has our immunity or our immune cascades already pre-packaged just for adventure. There is an attack. So we have to be mindful of how the body works and how the body operates. So these things are can be taken into consideration when we're thinking about how is it that we are going to defend against a particular pathogen.